Okay, so what if a building could just vanish? And I'm not talking about science fiction, I mean in real life. Well, we're going to dive into this really cool architectural trend that's all about hiding amazing structures right out in the open. Let's get into it.
Just look at this. I mean, wow. That's not a mirage. That's a real house in the California desert. It's designed to reflect everything around it so perfectly that it almost erases itself. It really makes you ask that question again, right? What if a building could just disappear?
And you know, that house in the desert, it's not just some one-off art project. Nope. It's actually part of this huge, growing movement all over the world. We're talking architects from Europe to Australia who are totally rethinking what a building is even for. They're designing them to disappear, to completely blend in, instead of standing out.
All right, first up, architecture that disappears. We're talking about everything from surreal treehouses to homes that are literally hidden inside mountains.
Get this. What you're looking at is a hotel room. Seriously, it's called the Mirrorcube, and it's at Sweden's Tree Hotel. That mirrored glass outside makes it a perfect camouflage, right? And hey, if you're worried about birds, don't be. The architects were way ahead of you. They use this special UV film that's totally invisible to us, but birds can see it so they don't crash into it. Pretty clever. But using mirrors isn't the only trick up their sleeves. Not at all. Check out Villa Vals in Switzerland. Here, the architects went a totally different route. They built the home right into the hillside, so it wouldn't mess up the view. From the outside, the only thing you see is this really cool, kind of unexpected circular patio.
So as we've just seen, there are a couple different ways to pull this off. It basically boils down to two main paths to invisibility, two main ways architects make these buildings blend in. Okay, so you've got two main strategies here. First, there's invisibility by reflection. That's where you use mirrored surfaces to create an illusion. Think of the Mirrorcube or that invisible house we saw. Then on the other side, you have invisibility by integration. This is when a building is physically built into the landscape. We're talking about Villa Vals, or the incredible underground homes in Cooper Pedy, Australia, or even the Edge House in Poland, which is designed to look just like the cliffs around it.
So if we boil it all down, invisible architecture is really just an approach that tries to blend buildings into the natural world. And it does that in one of two ways, either by reflecting the environment or by literally becoming a part of it.
Okay, so making a building look like it disappeared is one thing, but making it, actually livable, especially when it's buried in the ground, that's a whole other ballgame. So now, let's get into the hidden engineering, the science that makes living in the earth possible.
And this is probably the question you're asking right now, right? How do you build a house into the side of a hill without it, flooding or caving in?
Well, the main villain in this story has a name: hydrostatic pressure. This is just the immense force of all the water sitting in the soil, constantly pushing against the walls of a structure. It is relentless, it's powerful, and believe me, it is the #1 challenge for any earth-sheltered home. So how do you beat it? Well, you don't fight it head-on, you outsmart it. You redirect it. Modern systems are just genius. Here's how it works. First, that hydrostatic pressure starts to build up. But then, a special geotextile fabric lets the water pass right through while blocking all the soil and gunk that would clog things up. Behind that fabric, there's this dimpled plastic core that creates a little channel. And that channel guides all the water down where it's collected and drained safely away from the house. Boom, problem solved. Okay, so the walls are dry. The foundation is safe. But that solves one problem and creates another. How do you keep an underground home from feeling like a dungeon? Well, the answer is to look up and create a living space under a glass sky. Let's talk about letting in light safely.
Right. So the walls are dry, but you still need sunlight. Or it's just a basement. Walkable skylights are often the answer. But that immediately brings up another question, doesn't it? I mean, can you really walk on a glass roof? Is that actually safe?
The answer is a huge emphatic yes, and the engineering is just incredible. Building codes for this stuff are super strict. For a residential home, that glass has to be able to support a distributed load of 1.5 kilonewtons per square meter. That's like having a big adult standing on every single square meter of the glass. And for commercial buildings, it's more than double that. So yeah, this is not your typical window.
And just to give you an idea of how heavy-duty this stuff is, a single square meter of this walkable glass can weigh up to 110 kilos. That's almost 250 pounds.
And that's because it's not just one piece of glass. It's usually 3 separate layers of super tough laminated glass all fused together. Each layer backs up the others, creating this incredibly strong surface.
And the perks of this go way beyond just being safe and letting in light. I mean, this kind of design slashes your energy bills for lighting. It makes underground spaces feel airy and open instead of claustrophobic. Plus, these surfaces can be engineered to be completely waterproof and even slip-resistant. It's the whole package.
So we've got the cool looks, we've got the smart engineering. But all this brings up a much deeper question. Is looking natural the same as being natural? Just because a building can hide in nature, does that mean it's truly a part of it? You know, as one magazine put it, the real goal is to achieve both a visual and functional merger with the natural world. The point is, the benefits have to be more than just skin deep. It has to go beyond just looking cool. And really, that's the key here. The future of this whole movement isn't just about creating an optical illusion. It's about using these brilliant designs to genuinely lessen our impact on the planet, using sustainable materials and smart, energy-efficient tech. It's the difference between just looking green and actually being green. And that kind of leaves us with this one big idea to think about. In a world that we've shaped so much, what should our buildings really be doing? What should they hide? And what about us should they reveal?